Can you hear it? Change is coming. Thepowerofvoices.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome to thepowerofvoices.com. This is a comedy hour live. And in the studio today, I have my friend, Chris Pipkin Mercer. Woo woo. And I also have Adam Charlton.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce it right?
Charlton, but yeah. I mean, that's, I think
Boston
that,
accent,
yeah,
right?
you got it.
I mean, yeah, it's a known fact. I do not pronounce names correctly at least once per show. Somebody gets
Yeah.
sliced, diced.
Louis C.K., it's just a whole city of people saying things wrong.
He is. That's why I call him C.K. Lewis. I have no
Yeah.
idea. Most people know who I'm talking about, and then they correct me, which my whole life has been spent like that. Anne-Marie's talking, let's correct her. Yeah. So welcome in, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
As you know, it's a comedy show. So people will probably say, are these guys stand-up comedians? I mean, what do they have to contribute to the world of comedy?
That's a good question.
Well, what is comedy?
I don't know.
That's your question, young man. And I digress. What is comedy? Well, yeah, what is comedy? It's many things. I mean, you write, and I've seen, you write skits. What do they call those? A collective series of short films.
You can say sketch. I kind of don't like the word sketch because I don't like the word web series because it has like a negative connotation to it.
Web series does?
Yeah. Now they call them digital shorts.
I got to get up
What?
with this stuff. Really? Digital
Digital
shorts?
shorts. Yeah, because, I mean, everybody and their mom is trying to do a web series for the sake of just getting famous, and we kind of put together stuff. Not because, I mean, yeah, we want to be famous, sure, that'd be nice. But we kind of just started putting stuff up because we just had a lot of free time on our hands and ideas rattling around our head.
Yeah.
And
But as what you do, you a filmmaker? Are you a writer?
yeah, I guess.
A little bit of everything?
Yeah.
Schooled
it's
in?
A lot of multi-hyphen.
So yeah, it's writer, actor, director, producer.
Yeah.
Just 100%.
Just a lot of basically. I started making films in college. Like I originally went to Temple University for business, and then realized that was a really dumb idea. And then I started getting involved in film, and I made it my own web series there, and moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting. And then Chris came out a year later, and so we've been doing the acting thing. And then
So we can just go to that. Just go to like the way we started. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Yeah, let's do that, yeah.
to say the way you started, because you're both in your 20s,
Yeah.
okay? So you really, in this industry, you're at prime age for doing something significant, for getting recognized for it, because, it's very unforgiving as far as the youth thing goes out here. And I also noticed that you both have a similar kind of way about your personalities. You're very low key, and yet when you're when you do what you need to do, you ramp it up into an energy level that's just unbelievable.
yeah, we
thank you.
Thanks. We just had a conversation about that. Where recently over some videos that we put out, Chris was on the couch and he was like, "Is this stupid? Like, or the energy that we have?" I'm like, "No, I don't think so." But we could definitely like take it back a little bit. So I think it's just the energy that you're talking about. I think it more comes from a place of like we're trying to make ourselves laugh first, more than
Right.
anybody else. I think that's a lot of like where jokes stem from too. Is like like that whole.
Well, to give me an idea of how an idea grows into an actual script that is written and acted out. Is it
Well-
just something you guys are talking about?
Yes and no. So a lot of the ideas that we come up with are based off of things that are similar that happened to us in our lives.
Yeah.
So like I've known Adam since I want to say 2011.
Yeah.
And we've just done stupid things since then. And we transform those stupid things into comedic things for other people to
Yeah.
watch and view. And then we also exaggerate a little bit once we come up with it. So we'll sit down together, we'll start talking, and we're like, oh, remember that time where you thought South America was Montana? And it was like, that's stupid. for that somebody would think that. But if you
'Cause-
legitimately thought that before, we can put that in the script and make it
Yeah.
funny, and just amplify it or, exaggerate it a little bit. And that's pretty much what we do when we sit down and speak. Just because I've said stupid things in the past, Adam's done stupid things in the past because he's a little stupider than I am. And then,
Said the guy who said the word stupider.
exactly. See?
What did he do?
He's just said stupider, and that's not a
But
word.
everybody knows stupider is a word. But I
Yeah. I
just
you
said-
earlier.
I'm so upset.
So
now
anyway-
he's telling me it's not.
What have you ever done?
Stupider than me.
Have you ever done a mind map before?
No, but
Where-
enlighten me to what that is.
So a mind map is where you say you get a blank sheet of paper and you write down like one thing, and then from that it stems a bunch of other different bubbles, and basically that's you just trying to make non-linear ideas. That's kind of like how I think of it in my head. Like we sit down on the couch, like in Chris's living room, and to give you an example, we originally came up with the dance sketch from
Oh my God! Yes, I watched that.
yeah. So the original idea was like sometimes I dance alone in the bathroom because I get sad sometimes and I want to get it out and I had an idea of like, well, what if Chris like walked in on me like while I was dancing, and then that basically stemmed into like, okay, well, I wanted to end the sketch with Chris's girlfriend coming in and like catching us both dance like our feelings away, and then we're like, nothing, bye, and then we walk away. Then Chris said something, and this is basically like where the whole idea came from. He said something like, well, I think at the end of the sketch, they should both like look at each other and say something like, "We're really good at this." And then instantly, the idea for
going in, yeah.
yeah. So the idea for like the entire series just started flooding into my head.
It was birthed from that.
It
Same.
birthed from that, it's like life flashing through your eyes, but it was the life of like these two characters. Essentially, there's just two millennials who like are real big go-getters and have this incredible confidence and energy to them, but like no idea how to do any of it, which is this kind of like
Which it
this
looked
whole-
like that.
That's
yeah.
good. That's what.
Which made it funny.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
They're like, I don't know what he's talking about. We can
So
dance.
so then ideas basically not to like explain like a whole process, but like the ideas stem from like real things, like going up to the door to deliver a danceogram. Chris got that from his dad because his dad did a singogram.
Yeah, my dad and my uncle went to where they go, P Diddy, right?
P Diddy's house.
They went to, not his house. They went
Hers.
to in New York back in like I want to say it was the 80s. My uncle wanted to be a rapper, so he went to whichever office he was at the time and said, we have a telegram or singogram, whatever it's called, and they went upstairs and they actually like as if it were his birthday, and they were gonna give him like a
That's a great idea.
fucking
Yeah.
That's a
balloons
wicked
and
cool
stuff.
idea.
So they went
Yeah.
upstairs
Write
and he
that one down.
and he rapped for Diddy or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
that's how Danceogram was birthed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And
that
then-
sounds like a wicked cool idea. Well, I'm watching that, and there was that you had that one, and then the one that you did where you had James Kilbrew with that. That,
With the
Well,
if
that
he
was-
doesn't look like the best madman,
Yeah.
Shout out to James Killebrew.
Yeah, that shout out, yeah. That's so funny. And, everybody's like, hey, I'm listening to your show. I got a girl in Arkansas. Charlie, I know you're listening. You said your whole family's listening. I should do call-ins, too. I have the ability that you can call in the
you should
station,
definitely
too,
call
if
in.
people want to call the line. It's right on the page, isn't it? I have a call now. Oh, I do.
What's up, people?
Hey, who's on a phone? Is that an actual caller?
It's just great.
Franco.
They got
I hate
scared.
when they do that.
It's okay.
Stage
So I was
fright.
just going to call and hang up. Damn kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in saying that, you guys have that appeal that your humor's kind of on the tongue in cheek, kind of like that. I like the sarcasm that happens. Like you actually addressed racism in that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's where you were going with it, but it was kind of like, especially, and then, oh my God, you with the breaking up with the girlfriend, that was just
Good times.
priceless.
Yeah.
That was just priceless. Yeah, because that little twist, and it seems to me that's what you guys do is you have a serious subject, but you just throw this like twist on it that
Yeah.
just
Well, we more so want to do something that's like relatable. So whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, we wanted to feel as if like this could have happened to you in your lifetime or has happened to you in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Or what wanted to happen to you in your lifetime. just so that you have that personal connection with what we're producing. Just because real life is funny, and if we,
That's how Seinfeld. The idea of Seinfeld was a bunch.
Yeah.
It was a show about nothing, and Larry David's mind with if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm,
yeah,
as well as Seinfeld, you see that little twist on just outlandish behavior
Yeah.
that everyone has in them. That's the relatable thing. When you're standing there judging somebody, but you go, either I wish I could do that, or I could see myself doing that, or I try and keep that,
Yeah.
beast contained, but we all have that beast in us.
Yeah.
And some of the things that you guys have portrayed, because I've seen, actually, I saw a video that somebody has millions, 2 million, something, 20 million. She did a little snail shell, and she put like one little eye in it. You know who I'm talking
Jenny
about?
Slate. Yeah, she did. That video she got viral on like in 2010, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's been on all the talk shows. And
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I gotta find a job? Why?
Yeah.
I gotta find
Yeah.
I gotta find a gimmick or something that
Yeah, everybody
makes
ha-
people
yeah.
go,
Everybody has that idea of like, how do I get viral? And like, there's no formula. It's just like
no, it's what
one
people
day.
latch onto.
Yeah, I'm hoping that quantity will outrule that someday. Like the more we put out, like one of them has to catch.
The content the one you write for me.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
telling ya.
Yeah, if you can just
That woman kept insisting. Everybody, they say, she does it at every show. She keeps asking people, how can I be on your show? You got to write me in. You got to get me a script.
that's how it works. In
That's
Hollywood.
how it works in Hollywood,
favor
yeah.
for a
But you
favor.
said like the formula. That's also LA. So if we're here pursuing, whether it's an actor or a dancer or any performer, like there's no formula. There's no like, all right, you go to college,
Yeah.
and then you go and you meet, somebody that can do something for you. Like that's just not how.
No,
it
it can
happens.
literally be one
It's very
second to the
specific.
next.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's very specific to you, and like the energy you put out. So
Well, you have that Hollywood Cinderella story.
yeah, I mean, I work at a company called Soul Cycle. It's a spinning studio in West Hollywood, and it's in I'm gonna say it's in like 6 different states, maybe more.
One of the
in-
most
in
incredible
America.
things I've ever sat through, by the way, Chris.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
45-minute spin class. Yeah, it's very inspirational,
Unbelievable.
motivational, and an ass kicker of a workout.
Yeah, it is.
But it's high clientele there. So like I met Tyler Perry through Soul Cycle, and we just developed a genuine relationship through that experience. And he also knew I was an actor. So because of that, I told him pretty much I was an actor. And he's like, I want to say 10 to 12 weeks after I met him, he said, I wrote something for you. I want you to read for it. I was like, all right. Went home, read over the lines, went to go read for the producer first. And he looked out the window, was like, oh, Tyler Perry's here. We could just read it in front of him. I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
You weren't intimidated. You weren't like, oh my God, this is so huge.
I'm good at masking my, if I am intimidated, I'm good at masking it. And I grew up short, so I always had to overcompensate my entire life. So I'm good at like showing that I'm not nervous, at just like being present or pretending to be present, if that's a thing.
Yeah, it's called Mind Over Matter.
Exactly. That's exactly what it's called, Anna Marie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I read it in front of him, and he, I remember I was doing something with my hand. He was like, stop moving your hand. And I was like, and then we did it, and it went well. And he was like, I want to offer you the part. Like
Wow.
right
And
after
you're
I
Pete
did
the
it.
cop.
I'm Pete. Yep. Pete
Yep.
the cop.
And who survived a shooting, which was the only one I got to see because I don't have a TV.
It's
And
okay.
I'm looking into the camera to say that it was disturbing to see someone play being killed so well, almost dead, that you have to like walk away from the screen and go, and it looks too real to me.
Well, my mom's here right now, and she,
yes. Hold on.
she,
Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
she called me right after it happened. My dad called me. My dad called me crying, and my mom called.
It's not
It's when you
real.
know you're
I'm
good,
like,
man.
Not real. Like,
I'm
why?
like, I'm okay. But they tried to kill me about 3 times in that show.
They just didn't.
I'm just grateful to be on the show. Yeah, they just don't,
Teflon.
They just
Teflon
didn't-
Pete.
they don't like Pete, you know?
They
Yeah.
just don't
They're like,
yeah.
Pete's too much of a good guy. I'm going to shoot him in the back.
Is that really now? That wasn't your first acting experience, right? Or was that your real?
That was my first, like, big acting experience. But the
Ooh,
very
should we
first.
explain our origin story?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay.
Oh, Adam Stern. Sorry, go.
So
Hang up.
So when we were 21,
Yeah.
we both lived in Philadelphia, and I was going to college at Temple University. No, I was pretending to be a student at that time.
Yeah,
I
you did,
I
though.
dropped out.
But he was still on campus.
But I was still on campus, hanging out. It was cool.
Damn kids.
He had a girlfriend that gave him a bed.
I had a girlfriend. She gave me a bed.
That's how I went to college.
Man, now it's on the radio now. So,
I mean, hey,
never,
it's the truth.
no, that didn't happen. Mom.
And this is archived, so it can be used against you later. But go ahead.
Crap. All right. So so I was living on campus and I was just making a bunch of student films. Like I was acting in a bunch of student films and I started making my own. And it was in my friend's dorm at the University of the Arts, and he got an email for a casting call for this local independent pilot presentation that this guy was just putting together. And he said, you should audition for this. I'll send you the email. I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. So I didn't show up, and even though I said I was going to. And then Derek emailed me. He said, like, hey, you missed your audition. Do you want to come again? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I came a second time. And no, the first time I didn't come, and this time I did. And
First time you didn't come?
this is the radio, dude. That's really mature.
Toxic kids, people. Toxic kids.
First,
Don't even.
I was on a lot of medication at the time, and I walk into the audition. It was like at the upstairs of a bar called the Raven Lounge, which
Yeah.
I for sure
Shout
thought
out
was
to the
like,
Raven Lounge.
Shout out to the Raven Lounge. I
Philly.
thought you were a gay bar the first time I went to you,
Really?
and
I didn't think that.
I really.
Well, it was dark in there.
I thought it was
I
a
was
great name, Raven Lounge.
Sheltered, I
Yeah.
guess. It was cool. But the fact that it was at like a really, really like loud bar like kind of threw me off. And I walk upstairs, and then there's just like a bunch of dudes in their 20s just like all staring at us. You weren't there.
I wasn't there, no.
And Derek, he was pretty green at the time. He said like, it's like, do you want me to just do a cold read? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I basically just like read the thing really flatly, just for the words, just because that's like what I thought cold read meant. And then he looked at me and he's like, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. I was like, oh, you want me to really act this time? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then so like, I really acted. And he's like, oh, cool. So you got the part. And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is, but yeah, sure. And for like 3 months, I had no idea what we were doing.
What you were shooting? What you had auditioned for?
Well, we knew
Yeah,
what you auditioned
yeah.
for, but like what,
'Cause then-
like exactly
what
it was.
It was just he was just putting it together like an independent project for like pitching as a pilot. And then Chris got cast as like
There's 3 leads, and I got
yeah, and so we were 2 of the leads, and then there's another kid named Andy that was
Justin. Shout out to Justin.
Shout out to Justin.
And this is how it all happens.
And that's how we became friends, and we went out.
And we
to
moved
a
out
lot
to
of-
LA together.
I moved out to LA when I was
You guys moved out
Well,
here.
Well,
to
he
get-
moved out a year. He moved out a year before I did. And then
Yeah,
I came
like-
a
Yeah,
year
because
after.
that's a huge step for a lot of people coming out here. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, especially if you don't have money to back you up.
Yeah. Well, we also had a very interesting job at the time. So this job we had, we could work anywhere in America. Wherever
What?
there was a Walmart, we were able to work. So
How's that?
So this is what we do. We walk into the store. There would be an orange booth there, and we'd pick up the phone and we'd say, ladies and gentlemen, in 2 minutes, we're handing out free kitchen tools to every single adult shopper that's inside of the store. That is in 2 minutes from right now. And we do that about 3 times. And then we walk up to the table. There's a group of people that said, what are we getting for free? So we go behind the thing and we show them this little knife.
Gizmo.
It was
this little
a plastic
gizmo
screw
that could
with a
make a
peeler
potato
attached
into
to
a
curly fry.
a curly fry.
Why do I think of the Stooges? What was that thing? Can it core apple? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
what it was. And
Good
every
with that.
time somebody'd say that to me, I'm like, what?
But
Oh,
actually,
they
like
did
this.
say that, right?
Yeah.
But
So
after
it's-
we gave him this free thing, we were like, but we also have this other really cool thing that costs
Oh, the
$40.
upsell. The upsell.
So we get it, and we got paid pretty decently.
Yeah. $7 a pop. It's
Yeah,
his commission.
And on average, I just always wanted to sell like over 100 a week, so it was pretty decent.
yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty
It was
decent.
just,
Damn, how do I get that job? You know, I'm looking for
yeah.
employment.
I mean, you know,
That's
I want-
what saved us. Because what happened was I moved out when I was 22, and then I was just like couch surfing for like a year.
Yeah.
And just doing nothing because I was
Me too.
like, yeah.
You don't want to
Exactly.
be doing that at my age, though. Trust me. Get out of your way when you're 22.
Well, even then, I was like, what do I do? And then Chris and Derek called me up, and they were like, we're moving to LA. You want to move in together? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
And then so Chris got me that demonstration.
him that
job.
so
Demonstration
wait,
job.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's go back some because I know I've seen you do. I know you do a lot of work with kids,
yeah.
and I know like you did this thing, the Little Red Wagon.
Yeah.
which the amount of energy you exude, and I don't think anyone who's watching you can understand when I tell you the amount of energy this man exudes from his Soul Cycle class, because everything that you do is on a performance level. Even Soul Cycle, what you do from being in your class, and I wrote that thing for you. I was so moved. I've told his mother. I was so moved by his the way he instructed through the class and what he was able to pull out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, as an individual, and yet never feeling like I was in a mass of people. The whole time you were there, I felt like you were talking directly to me,
Well, I just feel like, too, that's like for example, I took my mom to a yoga class for the first time yesterday. And she said that same exact thing. She felt like everything the yoga teacher was saying was speaking directly to her. So it just shows that, like, we're exactly where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, when you try something new, or if you allow yourself to be vulnerable and step outside of whatever box, this imaginary box that we think we have as humans, then you'll realize, or you'll experience the things that you're supposed to experience, or that you always were experiencing, and you're just now realizing it.
That's really cool. You know that already.
Yeah.
Because you do realize that's they call it 20 me age, and there's this huge centeredness that you find with a lot of younger people. Selfies are notorious for it. The whole existence. Actually, watching people at an event. I did the red carpet event at the Beverly Hills Hilton.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there in this event, and there were all these people over sitting on the couches doing this, taking selfies of themselves at an event that they're at, but they're not actually at it because they're so busy making it real on the social media that the actual event is just happening without them. And there was so much. I mean, it's the best people watching I've ever done. It's like, what a freak show. It was amazing.
I think for them, it's not necessarily about experiencing the event. It's just basically they like the likes. You know what I mean? They want the attention of the so the event. They're not there for the event. They're there to tell everybody that they were at the event. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if somebody said to me that recently there's a poll amongst high school kids. They said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And a lot of kids said they want to be famous. Famous is not a profession. No. That's not something you can be. And so that's that's a lot of like where like I'd fight. That's where a lot of my humor comes from. Is just like really selfish people wanting to like
do anything for the sake of fame.
Yeah,
but it's LA.
But that's more so.
LA
but even deeper than that, I feel like as lack of direction.
Yeah,
because just saying I want to be famous is like I want what that person has. But if you say I want to be an actor, or if you say I want to be a rapper, or if I want to be a doctor, like something specific,
right,
as opposed to I want to be famous. You know what I mean? It's just that to me, that just when I hear that, I just want what that person has.
Did you have a clue, Chris? I mean, seriously, you it really did blow up for you, like unusually. That's not the norm. No. So anyone thinking you're going to come out to LA and have Chris's story, but it's not the norm. And yet it does happen.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is... Sorry.
I just want to ask you that. Was that what did you say, I want to go out and I want to be an actor?
Oh yeah, the reason why I moved to LA was to be a professional actor. Because I remember when I first got here and I wasn't acting professionally yet, and I was in the elevator on Rodeo Drive just because I was sightseeing, and this one lady I just wound up speaking to in the elevator said, "What do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm an actor." She was like, "Oh, ha ha ha," like everybody else, and I was like, "Oh, ha ha ha, yes," because just because there's this negative thing like, "Oh, everybody's doing it, so why would you even do that?" I had people say to me before like, "I want to be this, but the odds are so slim." Well, and that doesn't mean like nobody can do you the way you do you. So one thing I said to myself before I got here is that I'm not going to let anybody affect me in a negative way because there's negative people everywhere. But I'm not going to let that affect me because I know what I want. So once I knew what I wanted, it made everything.
Well, also committed to the work too.
Yeah, and committed to it exactly.
People really don't talk about the one thing that I've learned because I'm at an age where I've been there, done that. I did everything that at your age people start out to do, had a success, achieved all that. Now I get to start all over again. And what I've been able to do is like just watch and ask people. And what I've been learning out in LA is that I've seen some incredibly committed people. Yeah. They get up every day and push themselves past limits. And it's so much hard work. Max is actually I took a couple of acting lessons from him, trying to develop more of the persona, and just listening to him talk about how committed he is and how serious he is as to what he's doing. And I'm sure you know that because you're both doing it. You juggle doing Soul Cycle, and you say you have an audition.
Yeah.
The hours you keep to get up and do what you do, obviously you have to be really. That's the other side of it. I don't think a lot of people realize how much stamina.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking I'm getting sick.
Well, for example, like today, like we're doing this, which is awesome, and then I have an audition tomorrow at 12:30. So after this, I have to go home and read my lines. Then I have to teach at 7 a.m. So speak with you and Adam, go home, read my lines, wake up at 5 o'clock, go teach a 7 a.m. class, go over my lines some more, go to the audition at 12:30, work out after that, and then go teach a class again at 5:30 and 6:30. So it's like, but it also doesn't feel like it's that much work too, though. It's just because since I know I want to do it, and I know that it will benefit me in the best way ever, in the best way possible.
That motivation.
Yeah, it's what I want to do.
See, that's what I mean. I would talk about that too. Like, it doesn't really feel like it shouldn't feel like work so much.
Yeah.
Like, if people talk about like the hard work, I'm like that. Yeah, sure, it is hard work to start from nothing. Like, have no connections.
Doing what you're passionate about.
Yeah, it shouldn't have to feel that hard. It should feel fun. Like, making films and stuff is fun.
Yeah.
And to write is fun. And this is all like construction work is hard. I would never do that. That's
like waterproofing.
Yeah, exactly. Having 5 kids and having to pay for them, that's hard.
Yes, that's fucking
But,
hard.
like, I count myself blessed. Like,
right.
yeah.
To be able to do what you do and be able to figure that out.
Yeah, to have and also too, like, I always have to tell people, it's like, we don't need to do this. Like, the film industry doesn't need to be here. You know, like, it's not.
Yeah, but it's still great. You guys have a direction. You're not floundering. Is to be able to say that, you know, and there is no time. I'm living proof that. You know, I want to make that clear to people is there is no time on pursuing your dreams and doing something outside of the box, like you said. I'm probably the living example of that.
Yeah.
But you have this ability when your flexibility, I would have to say, your stamina, your flexibility as far as like if you decide to switch gears as far as what you're doing, everything you're doing now, and I always ask people, are you enjoying the moment? Are you enjoying this? You know, I have a friend of mine who, you know, Stan Pearson and I talked about that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stanley.
Stanley.
He's another one. He's coming and going. He's doing his motivational speaking. He's out here trying to make something of it. And I said, do you actually remember to stop and enjoy where you're at? Because a lot of people, I mean, when you hear their stories, the comedians that I've had, their journey to get to where they were, they sound like they enjoyed, the journey was like, incredible.
Yeah, it is
what you're able to do, and knowing that, you know, a lot of people don't know that they run right through it thinking, I got to get there. It's like no, this is all about this, and then when you get there, you'll just look back at all that and go, man, those were the best times, weren't it? You should know while you're in it.
Yeah. Well,
It's-
that's the society we live in, though, because like you get into elementary school, and then they say like you got to prepare for middle school, and then high school goes to college,
True,
and then college
huh?
goes to the job, and then job goes to retirement, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? Where was the fun part?
True.
You know?
Yeah.
So I kind of like have given up on the whole like someday is much brighter than right now. It's not true.
No.
You know, it's
to enhance like being creative. Okay, that's one of the things that LA took the lid off all the things that I felt restricted me from being myself. I had a friend of mine who challenged me to post my poetry, and I said, "Oh man, I don't know about that. That people are gonna think that I'm weird, or you know, oh, she's very touchy." So she said, "Well, if you want to do something creative, you start with, like you said, to thine own self be true."
Yeah.
So I went, all right. So as I start posting all the stuff, photographs, what I write, and I find there's this incredible, this transformation that's happening with my writings as well. As you grow, you can see that. As you look back at what you're doing. And LA also is so fueled with creativity that you cannot not feel that energy. It's like everywhere.
Yeah.
You know? The dream would be, okay, is to be able to achieve something that allows me to give back and do something. Melvin Jackson Jr., another shout out to him, he just tried to do a seminar And it was like he had the dream thing that he wanted to do. They postponed it. But my guessing was that he was really surprised. A lot of people come up, and I don't know if they do it to you, where they want to know your secret.
Yeah.
They want what you got. But what are you going to give them? It's like, just like, like the Tin Man and the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people
Mr.
message
Wizard.
me on Instagram and say like, "Oh, I'm from blah blah blah, and I'm a phenomenal actor, and I would love to be on If Loving You Is Wrong." And I was like, I don't have that power.
You're hired. You got it.
I'm not the casting director. I
Yep.
can't
Another
just-
Instagram discovery.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you, brother. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't work that way. And that's another thing when you're not living in LA, or I guess living in a city where film is that prominent, you don't necessarily know or understand everything that goes into it. So you reach out to these people that you see on TV, not knowing that there's people that put them on TV.
Right.
You know, so you think the people on TV are the people that are like, oh, that person will
No,
do
they're-
this for me.
Yeah.
When they went through
Like-
the grind. I mean, well, with the exception of some people, but they went through the grind just as the same way that you're going to go through the grind,
Yeah.
but the way you want to go through it.
And there's so many people too who have famous friends that can do nothing for you.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like absolutely
Listen,
nothing.
That's
I mean,
an
this is the
ongoing
prime
thing.
example. I'm like if I like out of celebrities though, like if this is the highest, I'm this celebrity. I'm like the D- celebrity. But that's as of now, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. It's just where I am.
You're-
But like in terms of Adam, is like he's asked me to refer him to my manager and stuff, and it just doesn't work like that yet.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work like that yet.
I just think it's you have to do something yourself before
Yes.
somebody can do.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm not like that's what a lot of kids would I would advise them to like not worry so much about representation and more like being really good at what you do and getting noticed for it by somebody who wants like because people they put the horse before the carriage before
Usually,
chicken,
yes, yes.
whatever some metaphor some
Some
analogy.
mother of some guy I dated actually used that reference about me.
Oh, okay.
He had me over, and the mother said, "Isn't that putting the horse before the cart?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, or cot, as we would say. And I'm like, what does that mean? Am I the cot or am I the horse? I mean, what is it? That's,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
But yeah,
That's the idea of that.
the idea of that just but again that goes back to kids just want to be. I'm 26. I'm not that old. But
No,
hell
no.
But kids, they want to be they just want to be famous so bad, so they think that like an agent or
Well,
or
unfortunately,
manager-
what constitutes fame, or like I said, I'm walking through any grocery store, any store that you get to the register, and you're looking at those magazines, and you gotta ask yourself. And I mean, Chris, I mean seriously, you're probably you get a vibe from people, and I know this. You're one audition away. I don't know which one it's going to be,
Thank you.
that within that momentum. But
days of our lives.
for instance, when I was your age, I was standing in front of Steven Tyler. I had turned down a recording contract because I had a 2-year-old daughter, and I was distraught over having to make that decision. I had no choice.
Yeah.
I was a mom.
Yeah.
So that being said, Steven explained to me what his life was like being famous. And he said, you live under a microscope. You also, if you were to walk out in a crowd of hysteria, they will rip you physically apart. It actually almost happened to him in Italy. He said that he worries about his children because crazy people can hurt your children. He said what happened to John Lennon changed a lot of things for, and there was also another young actress, is that personalities are also very aware of needing protection.
Yeah.
And also being also aware of that everyone feels like they own a piece of you.
Yeah.
Right? So he says it's like huge sacrifices. And then he said to me, not everybody's able to do this.
Yeah.
That transition, and I've heard this time and time again, people that have stepped into the door and they're like, okay, you've made it, and they can't deal with what's on the other side of it, even though they've worked to get there.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to be catapulted into that. I happen to know your background a little bit, and Mom, you did an unbelievable job in saying that. I don't think you'll have a problem. You have a strong, huge family support. Your brother's also a professional ball player.
Yeah, I have a group of childhood friends that we all knew each other since we were like 10 years old. And so, yeah, I call them all my brothers. My friend Ibrahim Campbell plays for the Cleveland Browns right now. He's a safety for them. And my other friend Brandon Bing, he played for the Giants the year they won the Super Bowl. And my friend Rashadi.
Wait a minute, was that the year with the Patriots?
No, that was the year with the it was
Okay,
2012.
we're good.
No, it wasn't with the Patriots. What was it?
I think it was.
No, it wasn't the Patriots.
No?
Wasn't that weird catch off the helmet? I still see that.
No, that wasn't the.
I don't know. 2012,
I forget who. It was.
right?
They won though.
They won, yeah,
They
the
won. They had
Giants.
Super Bowl ring.
2011.
Shout out to Brandon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have a strong group, and even all my friends out here in LA, like Adam and Derek and Prince, and my girlfriend Valerie. It's all very just supportive people, and everyone that's doing what they want to do. So it's like when you're around people that do what they want to do, it's just inspiring you to do the same exact
Right,
thing.
that incredible positive energy. And
Exactly.
you know, when you
Yeah.
get there, you see, because that's the other side of it. It's like funny how people are. People that never gave me the time of day. Some like even kicked me off their Facebook, and then I got this show, and they're like, "So hey,
yeah.
am I going to be on your show anytime soon?" It's like, really? Did you see my last show? I didn't have time. I'm thinking not.
Yeah.
See?
You know, yeah, it's like support. And you know, that's the other side of it is supporting. I try and get out, like I hit everybody's, I really do hit everybody's Facebook page and try and follow up where people are and what they're doing. And I know it's hard because everybody's chasing their own dream. Not everybody is able to do that. And right now I do. So like watching other people succeed is so cool.
Yeah. Well, you got to support the people that you want to support you.
Yeah, true that. Because this industry I happen to think that you need those people.
Yeah.
Because it's full of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
You know that I'm sure having that tight knit group of people that you have, and also the fact that I already know you're going to be the guy who gives back.
100%.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that you've done all throughout what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
But
that's
it's also too not that you don't meet other cool, really cool, good people on the way. Like the cast of If Loving You Is Wrong, we're all really good friends. But I feel like that's credit to like my parents and my friends growing up, like and having that positive energy around me that it's just all manifesting itself. And like throughout my journey, and the more people I meet are the people that are good people that I want to be around me. And I know how to decipher the people that are necessarily not somebody that I don't need to be around, and people that I appreciate.
true.
So
I'm going to go back to my high school and rub it in everybody's face.
You're gonna be that guy.
No,
at
no,
the
I won't.
Reunion. Hey, how do you like me now?
Drinks on me, except
Drinks
for you,
on me. You,
not
you.
you, not you. You're cool.
Do that old handshake.
Oh, ooh, nice.
nice.
No,
Yeah.
I think because we were talking, I might do
Wait,
that.
Are you looking to like? Because a lot of the stuff you do, the comedy element, and also I would imagine you do serious as well.
Well, yeah, Adam was in Mad Men.
Oh, yeah, it was.
You were a Mad Men?
Just an episode.
It's a guest spot in like a scene.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
That's because I look like
Don't you look-
classic
yeah,
1950s racist.
Yeah,
That's
classic man.
yeah.
Just know what to go out for those. Yeah, classic
Yeah,
1950s.
yeah.
I like that guy.
racist.
Looks
No,
like he's a
I-
racist.
Look at him. Look
He looks very judgmental.
I started as an actor, and he looks like he hates me. But no, I just kind of like comedy's just more fun for me.
yeah.
So that's
Well,
why.
yeah, it's also like I say that the truth in the mirror with a smirk on its face. That looking back at you.
Yeah.
And that ability to present it in a way that people like that nervous hesitation of laughter of recognizing themselves in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the relatable thing you were talking about. And being at the age that you're at, okay, like, did you find humor has, like, what you would call just stupid humor, and then there's humor with a message? Do you kind of visit all realms of what that is? Do you want to make a statement with your humor, or you just want to have fun with it?
The first one, I think. I don't know. It's just kind of like I kind of think of humor as whatever is funny to me at the time. Do you know what I mean? Like I take a lot of notes. Like I have an idea and I put it into my notes application on my iPhone, and so like I have like 300 just like weird sentences that I just like can scroll through and just pick from.
Oh, I like that.
So it's just like it's just whatever comes to you at the time, So like a lot of times, comedy comes from I'm mad at this certain thing, so I'm gonna make fun of it, you know. And then a lot of times you have to put yourself as the clown, like you have to be the like. Sometimes if I want to make fun of somebody, I'll have to basically make myself the target, which allows people to laugh at it. So like if I talk about like, oh, that jerk over there did this, like it's like, oh, I did this because I'm an idiot, and then people are like, oh, it's so funny. It's like, yeah, that actually wasn't me. I've done that for Chris several times.
Good friend to have, Chris.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a good
But I mean, yeah, but really, it's like what people talk about, like, that like I don't know, a somewhat pretentious question, like what is funny? It's like I heard this a long time ago. If a man trips and falls down and people laugh at it, then it's comedy, or it's a joke, or it's funny. If he trips and falls down and nobody laughs, then it's not. That's essentially what it is.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
What works on one stage doesn't always work in the
Yeah.
other.
It's
From what
generational.
I've learned, yeah.
Yeah, and like you listen to the Woody Allen comedy album, people are like, I don't get it, you know, like because it's just not, just doesn't translate now.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it, with with everything from the generation of comedy that I came from, I mean, you know, I'm really surprised. Like everybody talks about all these comedians, and I've yet to hear in my room of comedians anyone talk about Flip Wilson.
Yeah.
Flip Wilson had his own variety show that was extremely popular for a black host comedian to have at the time, wouldn't you say? I mean, that was huge, and yet I'm listening to all my comedians come through here. They talk about Richard Pryor, they talk about, and they'll name off. Not one of them has said anything about Flip Wilson. Am I right? So, you know, I grew up with watching Flip Wilson. The comedy, of course, you know, you can go through all of the regulars, but to have a variety show and the guests that he had on the show, that was a big deal at that time.
Yeah.
Because at that time, there was still a lot of tensions going on, which as a kid, I'm immune to it. You know, I'm only going to be from what I grow up with.
Yeah.
You know, but it's really kind of funny to think about the way some comedy will be timeless, no matter how, you know, slapstick is. People tripping and falling, like you said, that's always funny.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is.
Somebody who just, and there are comedians that make a living being that flexible. Chevy Chase was brilliant at it. He would come in on Saturday Night Live, and he was known for and oh my God, my mind, John Belushi was another one. Just totally spaz out. I mean, his Joe Cocker, that I don't know if you watched any of the old. I mean, is that something that you guys watched, the original?
SNL, yeah.
I can't say that I do. I mean, sometimes I do, but
It's like I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for saying this, but it's just like I watched Animal House like a couple months ago, and
It didn't. Yeah,
this
it might be.
isn't-
It doesn't. It's just too
Yeah.
stupid.
I get it because John Belushi, he's a very visceral creature. Like he's just very like his physical humor is what he has, and just like being a very weird guy and making loud noises. Like I get why that's funny.
The
but, like,
grossness of that
Yeah.
being funny
but,
because
yeah. And Chevy Chase is. I've heard stories about him. I've heard stories of him trying to make the set of Community laugh, the show that he was on like a couple years ago,
yeah, I saw that.
and people just didn't
Get his humor.
Yeah,
So
like I remember Donald Glover talking about like it's nice, it's funny to see Chevy like because somebody would do a joke because they're all comedians, and then Chevy's like, well, watch, and I can't speak for because I wasn't there, but like he'll say like, well, watch this, and then crickets, and I get it though because I've been at those open mics where you have that older gentleman who goes up and he does his like one-liners, and everybody's like, we don't do that anymore, man. Like that's not. And so I get it. Like it's just, it sucks. And I know that like we'll probably get to a point in our lives where like, damn, we're not funny anymore. Like,
right. Well, I don't know about that. You got to meet my family. Do you go to open mic nights?
I went to a lot of open mics nights. I used to do stand-up like a year ago, and I did a lot of stand-up, and then
You've had enough of that, huh?
It was just like it just
Here they are
wasn't
telling
my.
me, wait, you need at least 8 to 10 years to find your voice. It's
That's
like, no,
bullshit
I'm pretty
though,
sure
because
I've been talking
can
a
I
long
curse?
time.
I cursed.
No, that's all right.
All right,
there's
cool.
there's no. You guys, just so you know,
That's-
this is mild.
Oh, okay.
yeah, no, I can tell by what you
Can
were
I-
saying out there.
It's like can I get into a rant about that?
We're very serious
Yeah.
A
right
little
now.
bit. So comedians, my opinion, because I was in the scene for a little bit, and like I still somewhat, I did all of the open mics. I hung out at the Comedy Store, and it was fun, and it was great, and they were way too serious. like about what they do. It's just comedy. It doesn't make any sense that why people are like, you got to do this and you got to do that. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, none of that's true. You don't have to do anything. You don't want to. It's just like,
Comic.
just go up there and make
Enjoy
them laugh.
yourself. Well,
Yeah.
well,
but the whole 8 to 10 years thing,
Right.
Woody Allen was around for like 2 years before he blew up on the nightclub scene and was like going, it's strictly, there's people who just like are comedians like that. There's born and bred comedians. Like the 8 to 10 years are the people that, you know, hack around for like a really long time until somebody's like, all right, fine. Like you got a good podcast. Cool. You got stage time. Like, oh, you're a guest spot on like Workaholics. Yeah, sure. You can have some stage time like that. What I talked about before in the hallway, where there was a kid that got a movie deal. Like he did stand up a couple times. He got a big movie part. And then the Laugh Factory was given spots. And
that's wild.
yeah, and it's just weird because you watch them, and it's a fame thing because there's no saturation of comedians, and people like to create like this some kind of like samurai honor code with comedy, and like I just don't see it. I don't get it.
There's a lot to be said about everybody's interpretation as to what it takes to be a comedian because, you know, that's a constant question because I'm doing my own research as to, do I really want to do that? But, you know, and saying to somebody, being funny is just innate in how I've always been. I mean, I was in sales. I had a lot of good time with it, but this is probably, if anyone said, okay, Anna Marie has a talk show, first of all, does anyone else get to talk? It's like, well, I you know, people that know me, it's just hysterical that was, given that I had a talk show. Do you have guests? Yes. Or do you just go on the air and talk? Because we know I could do that.
Just monologue.
Yeah,
for like
no.
an hour.
But, and saying that and how to perfect this, you know, to talk to people about it, it's the same what you say. Everybody says, just do you. Mm-hmm. You know, and that is probably the greatest things. Casting directors were on stage. I got to sit on this thing, and they were from Empire, and they were from a Scandal. They were from some of the big shows, and the casting people said that the biggest mistake that people come out into an audition is that they try and be either Shakespearean or do this thing. But we're looking for you to be you.
Yeah.
He said, because if it's you as who you are, you're either going to fit that character or you're not.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that Max had said to me, when you know where you fit, you can save yourself a lot of audition time. Yeah. You know, there's certain roles, obviously, I'm not going to play. And I've talked to people in the industry who go on every audition. I go to casting this, and they're looking for that. And I'm, you know, obviously I won't play a middle-aged black man, but I mean, I understand what he was saying is knowing where your niche is. Mm-hmm. And you'll find that that's a better way to spend the time seeking out roles.
Yeah.
You know, and with comedy, oh my God, if you actually took each one of the comedians, it's like being scared straight, never wanting to get on that stage, what they've endured.
Yeah.
Doing comedy. And maybe that's the seriousness behind it, because if they don't like you, there was one, the shaking of the keys. Like if you suck, everybody brings their keys out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That got to be a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
I think a lot of with stand up, a lot of it is just like those couple years is just getting comfortable being yourself, because like you'll see a lot of like first time. I mean, even to open mics, like the first time comedians, they get up there and they're like, "How's it going, everybody? What's up?" And then you immediately tell right away that they're being completely fake. Yeah. And most stand up nowadays, I mean, comedy I've seen in the last couple of years is shifting to just like brutally honest, just being really like almost unwatchable honest. Like you look at Louis' show and you're like, oh man, that's disgusting. That's so gross.
I can't believe but it's brutally honest, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It works. But not everybody could do what he does.
Yeah. But and you look at like
it's like Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars.
Yeah, exactly. He just everything that comes to his mind, he just says, and people are like, "That's hilarious."
Yeah.
He just.
Do you think he did a good job with that?
Oh,
I thought it was
Did you
very
not?
funny.
Yeah.
Did you not? Now, La La Land, the whole thing with that, like.
That was the funniest thing I've seen all year.
Well, the thing is, I'm partial to Moonlight though, just because I know Trey, and he's the lead of. He's the lead. He's the main guy.
Oh, good.
He's the oldest guy that he
So,
plays.
Chris, can you get me a meeting with this guy?
Yeah. Who's his manager?
Can you use your clout? Yeah.
See what I can do.
But go.
But yeah, I mean, so the fact that like since I know him, like we were on If Loving You Was Wrong together, so I know him. Like that's my dog. So I'm like, oh, I want him to win, regardless. Like just because that's my friend. You know what I mean? So it's like
Well, the play
Yeah.
on it was because did you watch La La Land?
I did not see that.
Okay, the ending of it, just so you know, it was almost like ironic because what La La Land did with their ending is what happened at the Oscars to them. So it was almost like where they had this fake great ending and then they pulled it out
Think
from
about
under
that.
you.
Yeah.
Right?
Ha,
When I
just
went-
kidding.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, really? You're gonna? I don't like this movie.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I didn't know
they
that.
said that they said that at the end. A few comments were made like that. Oh, sure, La La Land, give us that fake
Yeah.
happy ending and pull it away from
Yeah.
us. Oh, isn't that karma?
It's funny.
Because that was what the Oscars.
I love the overcompensating producer at the end too. He's like, "I'm glad to give this to you guys.
Well, I
Like, we
thought that-
get
I
it,
thought
man.
that
You're
was
not,
very-
you're not racist. We got it. We get it." It's like, he's
I'm
like,
not
"No,
racist or
no,
homophobic.
take it. Yeah, exactly.
So you know.
Here you go. Let's take a picture. It's awesome."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
funny.
I got to
But-
watch that. Margaret had the screener,
Yeah.
and I
gotta sign up for
I
that.
got to watch
Yeah.
that. That was the most incredible acting and everything about
What,
that
Moonlight
movie.
you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Moonlight. It was really really a great movie.
Yeah.
And to see it get recognized, I think everybody was shocked at the end of that. There was and there's usually with anything to do with usually politics and brouhaha all go hand in hand, which also makes for great comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy walk up to me. He was a Trump impersonator at the event at the Hilton. And I'm like, wow, what a great time to look like somebody, huh? Especially that guy. And he's like, I said, so you busy? He says, yeah. He says, I just did a show here and what have you. And I said, oh, he goes, what are they serving for food in there? I go, they don't want you in there. So, just because you look like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
he was, it was pretty cool. A lot
That's
of, they had the Marilyn Monroe impersonator. They had people bring their dogs dressed up, and then there were like the fashion that women wear. I just want to say this personally, women: if you're going to wear a $4,000 dress, get your undergarments straight, okay? Because basically, I saw a lot of bad bodies underneath those clothing that need to be better addressed. Seriously, because men don't have to worry about that crap. You got
Yeah.
the jackets. No one ever said to a man, "Hey, you might want to tuck that in a little bit over here and pull that up tighter." Men don't have those issues.
I love how we got from Moonlight to like.
yeah.
Welcome to the Anna Marie Hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Segue.
Yeah, so I was at the Hilton.
Yeah, but
funny.
how much comedy? See, this is what surprised me. Every all you'd have to do is basically sit anywhere, and you could find something to either write a skit, a movie, or music.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Well, it's like to what you said earlier about a niche. Like, I mean, the only way you can kind of go find your niche is based off of your
Just-
life's experiences.
You just pay attention.
Exactly.
Like
it's your life. Pay attention. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite sayings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mine, by the way. But
All right, so I'm taking
Good
it.
say.
I'm taking it.
But there was like, I'm downtown meeting somebody, and all the homeless is just mind-boggling here. And there was a guy who was screaming. There was another woman that was yelling, and there were all these sounds of like these street people doing their thing, music playing. And I thought, if you could take clips of all these sound bites and actually do a rap kind of like video,
Yeah.
bringing attention to the homeless in a way that rap people is like, I'm sitting there and my friend's going, what are you doing? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm listening, because everything was at a different pitch musically, because it's voices. Actually, I got the idea from Carl Sagan, Neil, the other
deGrasse
scientist.
Tyson?
Yes,
Yeah.
they did this thing where they took their speeches and they put it to music. It was one of my favorite things that they did. And it starts out, we are all connected to each other, chemically, to the earth. But, they did biologically, the universe. They do this whole thing on it. And it's all of their speeches that is put together to music. And their voices are done in a way that it actually sounds like they actually wrote everything and not took clips, because it's so well done. So that's where I got the idea. And my friend said, that to have that much creativity, somebody would actually do that. A creative mind thinks that way.
Yeah.
To
Well,
take
it's like
that.
I just think of it as goofing around. That's all. I mean, like when we sit down and write stuff, like we're just sitting in his living room, just like going back and forth, trying to find something funny. And then like, or if I'm writing by myself, I'm just like staring off into space, just like thinking of things until finally, like I audibly laugh to myself. I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. And then that's all I write down.
Brainstorming.
Yeah.
They do that in marketing and advertising. I actually, where I worked, got called out as they wanted the stores to pick the most creative person and the most
Yeah.
Well, I got picked, and they also said to the other manager, "Watch her; she's a loaded gun. Make sure she doesn't get us all in trouble."
Yeah.
So I went to it, and it was literally people just shooting ideas, like what about this? What about this? What about this? Just based on
Yeah.
words that they would flip a card over, and everybody ran with that.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times I get an influence from just real people in real life. Like the dance thing came from a real guy. His name was his name Jerry. His name was Jerry, and he's
Shout out to
hopefully
Jerry.
doesn't. No, don't. Yeah, no, Jerry. He like what happened was is he we were hanging out with our friend Ryan, who was a professional dancer, and he goes, "Man, that's good." This is Jerry talking. He's like, "That's cool, man. Like, how do you get into that?" And Ryan's like, "Dancing? Like, I don't know. Get like an agent, and then they'll send you out an audition." It's like, "Oh, cool. Like, how do you get an agent?" It's like, start by taking dance classes. And he's like, "Oh, there's classes for that?" I'm like, "For dance? Yeah. Like, why?" How do you he's like, "Oh man, I thought can't I just like get an agent?" And that's how that
That's a great
whole
idea.
thing spawned. Yeah.
That would stand for that. And the
Yeah.
one where you're breaking up with the girl and actually spin that so well, it was like,
Yeah. I had an idea today. It was like,
Yeah, Adam, you wrote that one, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Adam wrote that one.
Wrote what?
The one
What?
when the one
read
when
it.
I break up with the girl. Well, I'll break up with the girl, but she broke up with me 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, I wrote that.
yeah. What did
I
you?
based that off of Chris's listening skills
Yeah.
because he doesn't have
Oh.
good listening skills. So I had an idea of like,
you know what? I'm so glad you said that. I thought it was me.
No,
That's why
no.
I had to write him a letter.
Yeah,
I know he had
yeah.
to read. He had to pay attention to what his eyes saw.
yeah, he doesn't have very good listening skills. He had that thought of like, what? So if somebody was to break up with Chris, like first of all, how dare they?
Whoa, what are they
who
thinking?
would do that?
Wow.
And secondly, like so he would just like not hear them. So then like two months later, he'd have to break up with her because like, oh my god, I can't keep leading this girl on. But like the fact is he didn't. Hear
I
him.
love that from
Yeah.
the mindset of a male.
Yeah.
That's what was
Exactly,
so funny
yeah.
about it, though.
We've
Yeah.
been like kind of called on our like lack of like female.
Is it like chauvinistic?
No, not chauvinist. We just
Man.
don't have. We need more well-rounded female characters, so we have to.
Instead of them being
hire
balance boards.
female writers
Come on now.
to like write
I'm
for.
funny. I got some
Yeah.
funny.
I'm scouting
There's
for
a lot
female.
of funny going on.
Yeah.
I try not to upstage my guests.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
You know,
They-
which I want to just say this to let people know, because Vague City is something that you run. You guys just run it on your, or is there a page they can like?
Oh, so you can. There's Facebook.com/Vague City, and there's YouTube.com/Vague City, and we also own VagueCity.com. So
Yeah,
that's pretty
we
cool.
got
And is that the entirety of you? Because in our 2-minute warning, you get to promote you.
I think that's it. Yeah. Those
No,
are the
take
three.
a minute.
We have Twitter and Instagram, but we don't use that. I mean, I just don't update it.
The Instagram you should because that's watched.
We promote them individually and on our pages too. So Vague City every single Monday.
Yeah.
We drop at least
I
like
love
a
that.
3 to 4 minute clip of just some ridiculous humor that Adam and I have come up with. Also, I'm a Soul Cycle instructor. Come take a Soul Cycle class, West Hollywood, Manhattan Beach.
Do it.
Stay cool is a business I founded with my friends. It means to stay optimistic, positive, focused, and true. And through these principles, we strive to redefine cool by inspiring individuals to have the confidence of pursuing their passions. And lastly, I'm an actor. Watch If Loving You Is Wrong Tuesdays at 9:00. And got these auditions flowing. Series regulars. My next goal: want to book a movie, more national commercials.
You done yet? You good?
Go, your turn. I think that's good.
I'm
StayCoolBrand.com.
I'm Adam Charlton.
Yes, Adam Charles. Chris Pipkin. Go.
You good?
Yeah, go.
All right, cool.
One more thing. Okay.
I'm Adam Charlton.
it.
I'm Chris's friend.
Yeah.
I really need a job,
Yeah.
like bad.
Yeah.
I can act,
Yeah.
but I'm a comedy writer. So if you want to hire me for like a staff writing position, I'd take it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like it that much.
No, he'd like it.
He's
I would
hoping. He's hoping all those people that are watching Chris that are affiliated with the show.
Yeah.
I'm personally hoping for a little more spiel on my
Yeah.
radio
Yeah.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
You know, you see, one hand washes the other, and keep
Just-
your feet out of it. But that's good.
Well,
Well,
Adam's one of those
hopefully-
people that he thinks that once he gets some more money, he's going to still drive a Prius, and it's just like that's not how it's going to happen.
I'm gonna shop at Goodwill. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna save every ketchup packet.
And my dream is to empower more women who
There we
feel
go.
like they
Yeah.
are stuck in their life and can't do anything
There we
after
go.
kids and husband.
Yeah.
Here we go. And just say, come on over here. This is Chris's mom, Camille. Yeah.
Well, how much
Guys.
time do we have? How much time do we have left?
27 seconds.
Okay, so for whoever's out there watching, please go to VagueCity.com
Yep.
or Facebook /VagueCity or YouTube.com/VagueCity. if anybody's watching, please pick up our show. That's all.
Cool. And do
Netflix,
it
Hulu,
because you'll
whatever.
enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And please tell your friends about my show. Both
Anna
of you.
Marie,
Promote it.
Thank you for having us.
Woo! See you guys next week when I will have more incredible guests on my show. I don't know who they
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
So inbox me, comedians.
Yeah, yeah,
I got
yeah.
a show available. Could be you.